All right, just wanted to talk through this latest pedalboard configuration and why I'm excited about it and what's kind of cool about it and some of the issues I've encountered with some of this gear all the way here. So, I have a whole sort of large studio board, and then I'm constantly pulling out pieces to make a very small live board based on whatever I'm doing. It's the Pedal Train Metro. It's like, I think it's one of the smallest boards you can buy. It's so small, in fact, might as well get to this, that the Pedal Power X8, which is a very small power supply that has a transformer that's like out, power supply that's out, not built in. So it's a very small form factor here. Actually doesn't even fit underneath this board. Had to do it on top, which was a pain in the ass. And right there, that's a tip. If you have a Metro 20 and you're thinking about the Pedal Power X8 to go underneath your board, don't do it. It's not going to work. Okay, so that's okay. I was able to work around that. But what's interesting about this board, if you look at this a little bit closely, if you're watching this video, you must be a guitar nerd, right? This is what I've got going on. Now, what you'll see is that's a warm drive, warm audio, but then it's 4 modulation pedals, and they're all a bit different. You got Univibe into Dimension C, which I'll talk about in a second, into Carbon Copy Delay, into Reverb. Speaking of this Reverb, why don't we start there kind of backwards. Pain in the ass, this pedal. I like it. UAD makes incredible stuff. But, like, for example, I had to get the Pedal Power X8 because you can't power it with a one spot. So you can see my dirty daisy-chained one spot configuration that I need to clean up. But, yeah, this needs a discrete 500 milliamps. And if you're daisy-chaining on a one spot, you cannot power this UAD Golden. So you need, your own power supply. Okay, fine. That's growing pains. We're all trying to get better and get, better gear, etc. But just know that if you're thinking about the UAD line, they can be very complicated, those pedals. I do think that the spring reverb sound out of this is fantastic. That's the reason it's there. Let's go back now to the drive. Okay, so the warm drive, I've done a video on this. It's an interesting pedal. Probably the most versatile. Now, the context is I'm running this Marshall SV20 half stack situation. Fantastic amp and cabinet, just absolutely a joy to play. So I don't really need a lot. I just kind of need some versatility as to the guitar I'm playing. If it's that thing, Jazzmaster, or maybe it's a Gretsch, or maybe it's a Strat, or whatever, Gibson, it doesn't matter necessarily, because I've got the ability with that voice knob, which I've done, as I say, I've done a video on this. The voice knob is fantastic. It allows you to dial in exactly what you need in terms of an EQ. So guitar to guitar, it'll sound really good in a way that some pedals maybe don't. Okay, the Univibe, fantastic pedal. I have played better versions of a Univibe clone. There's one made by Drybell that I think is close to twice as much as this MXR pedal, maybe more. The Drybell has a expression pedal jack that allows you to control, I believe, the speed, rate of the modulation. You can really get some expressive stuff with your foot, which I think is how Hendrix used his. He had a foot controller with the original Univibe. You don't have that here, but this pedal has a nice little thickening thing that it will do. Even if your speed and depth are down, just the level itself adds a kind of fullness and like a lower mid boost that is cool. And it's like a thickening, doubling EQ sound. Even if you don't really dial in crazy modulation, you can take a clean clean tone, clean tone, and make it really beefier as needed. Maybe you don't need that, and maybe a lot of people don't like that, which I can totally get, but I do like it, and I want that option. So that's why that's like mod pedal number 1, actually a sneaky versatile pedal. Mod pedal number 2, very excited about this, the Boss Dimension C. Now the Boss Dimension C, look this up if you don't know about it. Look up the Studio D, the Dimension D. It's a really subtle classic 80s sound just for recording. It adds a nice little, stereo spread kind of feel. This is an original one from the 80s that I found recently for a super good deal, and I'm so excited about it. I'm overusing this pedal because I'm so excited that I have it. Prince, I'm told, Purple Rain, clean tone, Billy Idol, Flesh for Fantasy, if you listen to that tone. The Dimension C is just, it's The Cure, all kinds of stuff from the 80s, fantastic. Carbon Copy, subtle delay. Again, I use it with the mix knob down very low. It's just like a little bit of slap back, adds a lot of tonality to it. So that's it. You got 1 drive pedal and 4 modulation pedals. So if you want to get kind of ambient and different, you've got that ability. But I think you could play almost any gig with this, because you really, between the versatility of the warm drive, which can go from just slightly overdriven, like compression almost, to tube screamer land, to almost heavy distortion, hard clipping fuzz land. You've got drive covered with that, and then you've got kind of any, like say you plug into an amp like a Marshall amp that has no reverb. Well, now with the UAD, you've got basically a Fender Spring reverb sound. You've got delay and modulation. So I don't know. I'm into this thing. I just wish that the Pedal Power X8 fit underneath my board. It doesn't. But I can live with that. So that is today's pedal board, and thanks for watching.